Welcome to the Revealing Experience. Please give Jim some love as he has warmed up this space with music. I'm Sunny Daye. Super glad to be here. Really missed you guys last week. We are going to, with open hearts, joyful hearts, hi, sing our welcome song. Come on in. We welcome you. Come on in. We welcome you. Let go, be free. Come on in and take a seat. We're glad you're here. We're spreading love, joy, and cheer. So come on in. Come on in, we welcome you. Come on in, we welcome you. Let go, be free. Come on in and take a seat. We're glad you're here. We're spreading love, joy, and cheer. So come on in. Come on in, we welcome you. Come on in, come on in, come on in, we welcome you.
Come on in,
come on in,
come on in,
come on in, we welcome you. Come on in, come on in, come on in, we welcome you. Come on in. Welcome back. Wow. If you're here for the first time, the lyrics to this song is in your programs, or you can sit next to someone who's been here and sing along with them. Yes. Reveal, reveal the love inside of me. Reveal the love that I was meant to be. Every time I open up, love is what I see. Reveal the love in me. The peace, reveal, reveal the peace inside of me. Reveal the peace that I was meant to be. And every time I open up, peace is what I see. Reveal the peace in me. The joy. Reveal, reveal the joy inside of me. Reveal the joy that I was meant to be. And every time I open up, joy is what I see. Reveal the joy in me. Reveal, reveal the love inside of me. that I was meant to be. And every time I open up, love is what I see. Peace. Every time I open up, peace is what I see. Joy. Every time I open up, joy is what I see. Reveal the love in me.
Thank you, Sonny. Thank you, Jim. All right. My name's David Yankauskas, and I'm a practitioner here at Seaside. So I invite you to sit back in your chairs with your feet firmly on the ground and go to that quiet place within. That place where God is the ever-present substance in which we live, we move, and we have being. That holy place, that place of love, that place of light that shines through each and every one of us. God is, I am. How wonderful that is. How that embraces my heart with warmth and just love and peace and wisdom. Infinite in all that it is. So I am one with that, as I know that each and every one here is one with that God light, that particle that's within us that is so small that the most powerful microscope can't see it, but it is there. And it is each and every one of us. And it is infinitely powerful, for it is you. We are one with that. So knowing this truth, knowing this love that beams through each and every one of us, that shares itself, that you feel it, you see it, you receive it, and you give it, and it is good. So with a grateful heart and humbly, I say, and so it is. Good evening. So I have a reading, couple of them today for you this evening. The other day, I started thinking about what should I read here this evening, and I have a little thing by my desk that has cards in it, and I pulled this one out by Yogananda. So I thought I would start with him, which is always a good way to go. So anyway, it's hard to see with the light here. The light of God is evenly distributed, but in some men it is more apparent than in others. There we go. For those who tune in with him reflect his light more clearly. Realization comes from constant, deep meditation and from ever busy, ever searching mental effort to convert theory through practice into useful knowledge. Lift your consciousness from the confining, noisy world of matter into the vastness of silence and commune there with God. Do not look for a spiritual flower every day. Sow the seed, water it with prayer and right endeavor. When it sprouts, take care of the plant, pulling out the weeds of doubt, indecision, and indifference that may spring up around it. Some morning you will suddenly behold your long-awaited spiritual flower of realization. Now, I lost my place, but I think I can find it here. Maybe. Sorry. Got it. Okay, so Goldsmith. When you turn to a spiritual unfoldment, you learn one thing. There is no way of getting anything from anyone. There is no way of getting anything out of anything. And there is no hope for those who expect to get. Life, spiritually understood, is not a getting process. It is a giving process. You will get out of life whatever you put into it. No more, no less. It may be a life of peace, but there will be no peace or prosperity for those who are expecting to get something. It may be a life of war and depression, but there will be no war or depression to the person who is putting into life his love, his forgiveness, and his dependence on grace. To that person, none of these things will come nigh in his dwelling place. If you could learn the secret of grace, which is a complete reliance on this infinite power within, you would find a spiritual freedom in the outer realm that no man can take from you. Under a life of grace, there would come a total freedom from the capacity to injure or to be injured. Divine grace would reveal to you your divine sonship. And that same grace would maintain and sustain that divine sonship under any and all circumstances. Joel Goldsmith. So now, I would like to invite Reverend Sunshine up and let her give her divine sonship to us.
Thank you, David. Boy, did I miss y'all. It's so good to be here and so good to be with my spiritual community. For those of you who weren't here last week, you didn't know I was gone. So y'all have no clue what I'm talking about. What? Welcome. Welcome to Wednesday night's Revealing Experience, where we have the opportunity to simply reveal that which is already within us. I bring you greetings from Napa Valley, where we had a ministers' gathering. And at that ministers' gathering, there was just so many ministers there, about 160 of us. And we had an opportunity to be with one another and support one another and nurture one another and really just be in like that minister consciousness. There's a whole lot of jokes I could tell. But I'll save that for later. But I bring you greetings from them. For each of them, we're so happy that we have this thriving spiritual community here on Wednesday nights, and that together we're growing and unfolding and recognizing the God that lives in, through, and as each and every one of us. I'm super, super excited because, this month being October and being that Halloween falls in this month of October, our theme for the month is, "That's scary, all right." And each week we've used, meaning Reverend Catherine Economo last week, we've used like movie themes, like scary movie themes, really to help bring out a point. So today's talk title is The Lost Boys. And it kind of has that little vampire deal going on, right? But I'm going to veer from that and talk to you a little bit about some other lost boys and really make it so that we're really understanding that there is information about the lost boys, whether it be about the movie or about these other boys that I'm going to let you know about, and how it really fits with our life and how together we can not be lost. So In the original movie, The Lost Boys, a divorced mom comes to live into this new town, and it's actually filmed in beautiful Santa Cruz, California. And what I can tell you a little bit about it, because I don't really know a whole lot about it, I don't like going to scary movies. They make me laugh. They do. They make me laugh. And you know why? Because they're so scary that all I can do is laugh. All I can do is laugh so that I'm not like totally spooked out and scared, right? But anyway, you know, this divorced mom with 2 boys goes to live in this town called Santa Clara. It's a make-believe town, but it's actually filmed in Santa Cruz. And it's really a story about how her boys meet up with some folks, some kids, and there's these posters about missing kids, missing people in the town. And someone plants a seed in their mind to say, hey, the reason all these people are missing is because we've been invaded by vampires. Dun-dun. Now, right away, to me, that's very, we can make a whole talk out of that. I mean, and really do it up. You know, how many times have we moved to a new location or a new place, or whether in consciousness we have gone to a new location? We've maybe left one plateau and have gone to a new plateau, but people will be like, or maybe the first time you started coming to Seaside, people were like, oh, you going over there? Don't drink the Kool-Aid. You see all these missing people, right? They started by going over there. You know, people will begin to plant seeds or begin to plant doubt or fear, and if we allow these doubts and fears to fester and to grow, we're not following our heart. We're not following the dictates and the command of life to go and be in a place that recognizes exactly who we are and that helps us to lift us up to recognize that God is living in, through, and as each and every one of us. You see, in the movie, these kids met up with some other self-proclaimed vampire hunters, a.k.a. practitioners. They're armed with the truth. No. They dispel the myths of the movie, right? They're the ones who are kind of looking to go, no, this, there's something that's not right here, And what happens with a lot of us is that, I love Quimby, because here's my thing that Quimby said. He said, please do not disturb my fluids. He had this thing, Quimby is like the grandfather of New Thought, He healed himself by the power of his thought. And he knew very well that because we have a mind, a functioning mind, and we can use the power of our mind to heal our bodies, he knew very well that people could pretty much drop ideas and drop thoughts, and if we decide to adopt them, oh, look at that cute thought, let me take it, and believe them ourselves, then we would be influenced by those particular thoughts that then become beliefs if they become habitual thoughts in our awareness and in our consciousness. So when Quimby says, do not disturb my fluids, he's pretty much saying, look, don't be dropping that stuff into my head, because I don't even want to think about it. I don't even want that in the realm of my consciousness or anywhere near me, because it is not the truth. And so it is that in the movie, and also how it compares to our life, is that there are people who are going to tell us things, and they're going to say stuff. Are they disturbing our fluids, but maybe I should post it to you this way. Are we allowing them to disturb our fluids? Are we allowing these thoughts, these ideas, these things to come into our awareness, into our consciousness, and take us off of our center And are we then willing to take that on and believe it to such a degree that we begin to live a life of separation? Now, here's what's scary. What's really scary in this month of October is the idea that we are separate from that life that God is. That's a scary thought. Now that's scary. And it's scary because as we allow others to tell us the same thing, God is out there, God is not with us, we have to, genuflect and do all kinds of stuff for the glory of God or for the grace of God or for any of it, that we have to do something in order to be in God's grace or in the grace of God. The bottom line is right where I am, God is. And God is living and having its beingness in, through, and as my life, and in, through, and as your life. So the moment we allow others to disturb our fluids, the moment we allow people to tell us things, and we take it on and believe it, we too then become lost. For as we believe in separation, we have now lost that conscious contact, that connection, if you will. We've lost that conscious contact with that great I am presence that is our very life. Now, the truth of the matter is we can never be separated from it. But to the degree in which we believe we are, then it is done to us as we believe. Now, I wanted to simply tell you, not only were these boys in the movie lost because they kind of got a little bit tangled up in these ideas about vampires or about, people who are coming to suck the life out of them, if you will, right? Sometimes we have situations like that in life. Sometimes it's called a job or whatever else you want to call it. I won't even go there. But whatever it is that we think is after us and coming to take away from us, we are in that situation where we're lost. We're like the lost boys. We believe in separation. And so because we're believing in separation, we're lost. Now, interestingly enough, in one of our great books, besides our Science of Mind book, there's a library that's called the Bible. And in the Bible, it talks about some lost boys. They actually call the story like the prodigal son. I call it the lost boys. I call that story the lost boys. Because in the beginning of the story, Jesus, the Christ, he says, there was a man and his two sons. And most people would just walk away thinking about the prodigal son, the one who went off and spent all his money and was feeding swine and was, just having his way with life. Most people just think that it's a story about how this kid comes to his senses and goes back home and how the father accepts him back and slays the fatted calf. But this story is also about both of them, the lost boys. Because, see, a lot of us might think, you know what, I'm not lost. I know. I have a title, or I've been around Science of Mind teaching since I was a kid, or I've been around Science of Mind teaching for this many years. I've already done foundations, and I've done, Psalm 2, 3, 4, 5, 17, 23. I'm educated in Science of Mind. I know my stuff. Can't tell me nothing. I already know that. There's some of us like that. I'm not pointing any fingers. Just saying that there's lots of us that get to that place, and that place sometimes can be a place where we're also lost. You see, in the biblical, the lost boys, the son who stayed at home was doing everything right. He stayed at home. He was pleasing his father. He was doing everything right. And so, of course, when his younger brother comes back, he's a little angry, the story says. He's a little angry and upset. like, hold on, Pops. I've been doing everything right. I've been home. I've done this. I haven't spent my inheritance. I've done this. I've done that. He went off and spent everything, and now what? You're giving him this, brand new robe. You're giving him the fatted calf. You're having this celebration. Like, what's that about? How come there's no celebration for me? I'm the one who's been good. A little salty, huh? Lost. That person, that lost boy represents maybe those of us who've been around Science of Mind for a little while. We're doing everything right. We know how to pray and how to meditate. And yet, there's this underlying feeling, like this low-grade fever of separation, of angst, of anxiety, of still wanting and yearning for something different, whether it's some recognition from Father or from the community or from our family or from people. That individual, that brother, that boy is still lost, even though he was the one who stayed home and, by all appearances, was doing everything right. Hear me now. We're talking about the lost boys here. We're talking about the one who goes off and squanders off everything, but we're also talking about the one who stays home. And a lot of times we think because we're doing the right thing or saying the right thing or behaving that we're okay. And yet, we know, and only we know, that there's this underlying, things are not right. You might be walking the walk and talking the talk, but there's something that's just not cooking correctly, something that's not jiving. Yeah, we might say we believe in one power and one presence, but the minute we don't get what we want, we're throwing a spiritual temper tantrum because I done prayed and meditated and did what I did over here, and I'm still not getting the outpicturing of what I think I want, and I'm going to have a temper tantrum or be angry with God about it. We're lost. Hello? We're lost as well. But one on the outside looks, because we're judging, terrible. The other one might look a little more shiny and put together. But this is a story about a man and his two sons and how each of them were really lost in their own way. That somehow, some way, somebody planted a seed in the son who stayed at home in his mind that if you just do this, you're going to be okay. And the bottom line is that our God, our Creator, that creative intelligence that has created everything out of itself, has already given everything that there is to give, because God cannot withhold anything from itself. It cannot withhold anything from itself. Therefore, it is already given. We don't have to please some God outside of ourselves to give us anything. Yet, we get to also recognize that we have to come to our own senses about it. Just like the youngest son came to his senses when he was out there feeding the swine. Now, here's the thing about feeding the swine, is that the time that this was written, the Jews thought that pig or pork was not legally fit to eat. So now I have stooped so low that I can't even eat this animal or partake of it in my belief, in my thought, but I am such a slave to my separation, okay? I am a slave to my separation. I believe so much that my life is separate from that life that God is, that I'm over here feeding this habit or feeding what I think is lower than low and feeding it, meaning feeding my lower self, for what? Until I come to my senses that, wait a minute, I'm over here struggling and feeding the swine in order for me to eat myself, in order for me to survive myself. So whether it's an addiction, whether it's a habit, whether it's something that we do on a regular basis like self-deprecation, whether it's talking badly about oneself, whatever it is that we're doing, feeding the swine, thinking that we're separate from that life that God is, we must come to our own senses. Even in the biblical story about the 100 sheep and the shepherd going after the one that was lost, it's really about recognizing that everything is already given. Our life is that life that God is. And the minute we turn away from this idea and this belief and this thought that my life is separate from that life that God is, the minute I turn my back to it, I recognize that the shepherd is there to get that lost sheep. I recognize that my higher self, that God presence that is my life, has been waiting for me to wake up all along. Now, whether it's the youngest son that we've lived like, or whether it's this oldest son who's almost self-righteous, we get to also watch and beware there. That we're not so just stuck in a quote-unquote habit that we're not really enjoying the benefits and the pleasures of our prayer, of our meditation, of our contemplation, of our sacred service, of our tithing and giving. Sometimes we do that stuff because we think we have to. That's why on Wednesday nights, when we do the collection in the basket, it's just like give from that place of thanksgiving. If you think you have to give, don't even do it. It's not about giving until it hurts. It's about recognizing our life as the life of God and recognizing how richly we have been gifted with all things and then contributing from that place. It's about recognizing that our life is a life of God, and the more and more I know that, the less lost I am. The more and more I believe that my life is that life that God is, the more I turn away from this idea that was implanted in our minds and in our consciousness that we're separate from God, the more I get to know that my life is the life that God is. And that as this life that God is, all things are possible. That everything is available to me. To the degree in which I accept that and know that for myself, I'm no longer lost. And yet I have to be careful and be aware of those places in which I think I'm lost or that I feel lost. And those are the places in which I believe that I'm separate from others or separate from the life that God is. And it is then that I get to stop and come to my senses. Wait a minute. That's not the truth. The truth is that God is living me. And that this life is so perfect and so wonderful and so multidimensional that though sometimes I may speak of God as an outer power or outer presence, what I'm knowing is that it is an outer power and an outer presence, but that is also within me and that it is my life, that it is everything. I just need to be aware that when I speak of separation or when I speak that sometimes my language might limit it, but I get to know that really what I'm talking about is that my life is that life that God is, and there's nothing, absolutely nothing, no thing that can separate my life from the life that God is. It is an impossibility. And we don't have to live as lost boys. We don't have to live allowing folks to drop these little ideas or thoughts into our minds and then taking them and adopting them and living from that place of lack and limitations, scarcity, fear, doubt, depression, illness. We don't have to live from that place. It is not our truth. It is not who we are. Those are the vampires sucking the life out of us, sucking the truth. And to the degree in which we give that our attention, then that's what we get to look forward to. But to the degree in which we go, that's not the truth of who I am. Let me come to my senses. Let me remember that there's a power and a presence in one life and that it created everything out of itself. Therefore, my life is that life that God is. Therefore, that which is true about God is true about me. When I begin to come to my senses and turn to that, I recognize that that which I have been seeking, it has been seeking me. Yay. Yes. Yay, yes. And it's yay because when we come together in spiritual community like this, we get to be reminded and we get to remind ourselves and one another, and we get to take this nugget of information and live with it. We allow it to permeate the consciousness, our consciousness, the portals of our consciousness and our awareness. We do not have to be lost. We get to recognize the power and the presence that God is, we are, and live from that place. So Ernest Holmes, he says, when one separates himself from the divine fire, he becomes an isolated spark. We are strong only when united with life. As soon as our consciousness is detached from spiritual wholeness, we can no longer draw from the inexhaustible reservoir of the eternal existence. That's who we are, and that's what we have available to us, an inexhaustible reservoir. It has been given already, right? But the minute we detach, the minute we even allow others to drop little hints, ideas that we're separate from it, and we go with it, we're detaching. The minute we go, there is no God. The minute we go, oh, I didn't get what I wanted to. This treatment stuff doesn't work. This meditation stuff doesn't work. Oh, I'm going to have to find something else. The minute we detach from that, we remove ourselves and detach ourselves from the inexhaustible good that is available to us. Right? So we become exhausted. There's nothing to fall back upon. Life is one perfect wholeness. Life is one perfect wholeness. The universe is a unit. God is one. And then, in big, bold letters, just imagine this as an email from Ernest Holmes, and it's big, bold letters. And you know, when it's big, bold letters, all capitalized, it means he's screaming. So in the book, he's screaming. It is impossible for man to feel separated from the Spirit without feeling lost and in want. So the minute we are feeling lost, the minute we are feeling like there's something that we want, we are separated from the Spirit. Because it's already been given. This is why Jesus said that he could do nothing of himself, but could work only as the current of divinity ran through his personal mentality. This subtle something which runs through all things and which we call the thing itself, a.k.a. God, a.k.a. life, a.k.a. love, a.k.a. peace, divine intelligence, that which animates us, that which we call the thing itself, that energy without which nothing can be energized, that life without which nothing can live, that power without which nothing can move, and that spirit without which nothing can be is God. It is only as we live in conscious union with spirit and consciously let it work through us that we really live. I really want to live. I want to really live. I want to really live. And it's only, amen. DOG. G-O-D, whichever way you spell it, say yes. It is only as we live in conscious union with Spirit and consciously let it work through us that we really live. So, we don't have to be lost. Whether it's a movie and the lost boys of the movie, or the lost boys of the Bible, or even feeling lost ourselves, that lost boy. No gender attached to it, but feeling lost ourselves. The remedy to that is recognizing that there's one power, one presence, and one life. And that life is that life that God is. And that life is your life right now. That's the key. That life is your life right now. It is my life right now. It is the life of this community right now. We no longer have to live feeling lost. Whether it's that we've been so self-righteous that we haven't recognized that we've been lost, or whether it's been that we've been feeding the swine and lost, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. What matters is that each of us within us comes to our senses and recognizes this truth about who we are, and that we begin to then live from this place so that we can really live. So let's take this idea into our quiet time. And for the next 5 minutes, simply recognize maybe areas of our lives where we have felt alone or lost or desperate, where we have felt doubt or fear. And maybe if we just kind of pick an area in life where we have felt so lost and alone, and now begin to shine the light on that, recognizing that there's one power and one presence, and that by pure recognition of this power and this presence, that it is our very life, that we are indeed found. That we're simply turning to our God self. And it is our God self that says, "Welcome home, beloved. Let us have a feast. Let us celebrate. Let us be joyous. Let us recognize that the life that is that life of God is not punishing, not saying where you been, it's about time, but celebratory. How great! Yes! Congratulations, you came to your senses. You recognize that our life is the life of God. You recognize that there's only the one, and that it's living and breathing and having its way as you right now. Congratulations. What an awesome reward. Let us celebrate. Let us celebrate this oneness. Let us know it as a life of God, and that it's living and breathing and having its way as us right now. For this we are made.
God is all there is. All there is God. God is all I am. All I am is God. God is all there is.
So as we recognize that God is all that there is, even by default, means that God is what I am. That life presence, that energy, that essence that is God is living in, through, and as me right now, expressing in a beautiful and powerful and magnificent and mighty way. And as this is my truth, I'm also knowing that this is the truth for each and every one of us. That God is living in a powerful and beautiful and magnificent and such a sweet and joyous way as each and every one of us. That's just the truth about it. And so what we do now is simply embrace this truth. We let that disturb our fluids. We let that be the content of our consciousness. We let that be the place that we live from so that we can really live. And that we let anything else, unlike this truth, simply fall by the wayside. Never to be picked up or adopted or taken in again. But we're simply living and breathing that life that is God. It is right where we are, and all has already been given. Therefore, all is well. We have indeed been found, for we found within ourselves that life that is God, that is living in, through, and as us right now. I found it. I found it. It is my life. And how great it is that we get to live this life now fully, giving glory to God within us, as us, through us, even now. It is so, and so it is. Amen. I recognize you. You're the way God is showing up. How wonderful. Thank you so much for being here this evening. It is now time for me to invite our ushers forward. And as they're coming forward, the invitation is to just check your heart and see what it is that you'd like to share with this spiritual community. To simply give from that place of what it is you'd like to share with this spiritual community. How it is you'd like to see our spiritual community grow and be here to support others as they walk through the doors, maybe sometimes feeling lost, but knowing that right here, they are loved and welcomed in the sonship, in the godhood that they are. And so simply take your gifts, your offerings, your tithes, that which you've brought to share with the spiritual community, and give it a blessing. Simply be grateful for it. And as you send it, on its way into the baskets. Please see it multiplying, benefiting as many people as possible. For we are indeed stewards of that which is given, knowing that we also redistribute this good for the greater good of the community. Go forth, ushers. And as you give, you get to receive. So please receive the beautiful music of Sunny Daye and Jim Bianchi.
How can I say thanks for all the things God has done for me? Thanks felt undeserving, so I sing to prove my love for thee. But voices of 1,000,000 angels could not express my gratitude for all that I am, could ever hope to be. I owe it all to you. To God be the glory. To God be the glory. To God be the glory for the things He has done. With His love, He has raised me, and with His power, He has changed me. To God be the glory for the things He has done. Just let me live. Let me live my life. I want it to be pleasing, God, to Thee. And if I should gain any praise, just let it be to the God in me, for it's with her love she has raised me, and with her power she has changed me. To God be the glory for the things she has done. Just let me live my life, and I want it to be pleasing, God, to Thee. And if I should gain any praise, just let it be to the God in me, for it's with His love
Sunny Daye. Sunny Daye. Jim, thank you. Amazing, amazing. All right. This is the part of the revealing experience where we recognize that we're all revealers of truth. Each and every one of us are revealers of truth. So we have a couple minutes in which I get to come down into our community, and you get to share a truth for yourself, maybe something that you're going to take with you or that you got out of something from today, or just, reveal the truth, beloved. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm Bruce. I'm one of the practitioners here. And the prodigal son, that's one of my favorite stories. I really just love that story because I resonate to both sons, both sons. I'm when I was 16 years old, I first found religious science, and I first found alcohol, which kind of led me through the path of both of the sons.
So you found spirit
Both
twice.
spirits twice.
Spirit and spirits, right?
That's right.
Just saying.
Very spiritual. But that kind of led me down both paths. The path where I got down completely broke, lying with swine, and a path where I became a CPA and stuff like that. And I was very much into work and casting judgment upon people. But through time, in religious science, I found that that we're all God, we're all divine expressions of God, and that and through religious science that led me to AA, and through AA, I was able to pull myself up from the swine and become a man that supports others in their quest for sobriety.
Yeah.
And through both, God leads us to AA, and AA leads us to be a service to God. And so from there, I became a practitioner, and I feel good.
Good deal, Bruce.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for sharing that. Absolutely. For some of us, we feel both ends of that. Hey, Tim.
Hi. I'm Tim.
Right up here, Tim, so we
producer
can hear
here.
you. There you
Okay.
go.
Tonight is the first night we're trying to develop something new for the video streaming and get feedback right away from the viewers. And tonight I did a little bit of an experiment. Until we get a dedicated line to do that, we got a message.
We got a message. I love technology.
And it's from a practitioner, and she says, tell her, Reverend Sunshine, that she lifted one practitioner from her spiritual madness tonight, listening from this live streaming. Oh. Tell her I said that she was on fire tonight. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And this is the kind of reaction we want from our web streaming fans that are out there. And soon we'll have we'll publish it, put it on the internet, and they'll be able to call in.
Excellent.
There we go.
Tim, thank you, and thank you so much for your service and your love. Any burning desires before I head back up? Shout it out. All right. So, next week, first of all, I definitely want to thank Reverend Economo, Catherine. She was here with us last week while I was gone, and I know that she did The Call Is Coming From Inside the House.
Yeah.
And was quite enlightening. Want to let you know that next week's talk title is, who you gonna call? Ghostbusters. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So we're gonna have fun with next week's talk as well. I want to thank you all for being here tonight. What a joy it is. I have a hug for each and every one of you. And I have to tell you that I feel richer than Oprah. Because, she'll give you cars and books underneath your seats. But I will give each of you a hug. You know what I mean? And a hug for you and for you and for you. There's nothing more valuable than that human connection, knowing that the embrace is the way that love and God shows up, and that you are valued and that you are seen and you are heard and you're important. You're important to me and you're important to this spiritual community. And I'm so, so glad that we're all here tonight. And for those of you also who are live streaming with us tonight, please, please continue to do so. And, you know, as you can see, we're generating more and more, and people are able to watch from home. So we're actually being such great stewards of what we've been given. And it just makes me so happy to know that our message, whether it's coming from me, from the music, whether it's coming from the reading, whether it's coming from something that is being shared, is touching lives and making that difference. And really, that's what we're here for, to make a difference in each other's lives, that we might recognize our life as the life of God. So I want to make sure that I thank David Yankaskis for being our practitioner on pulpit tonight, and for those great readings and that beautiful prayer. He's joined tonight on the practitioner team by Jan Hartman, who's been holding the light in the back. Both of these practitioners, along with any others, are going to be available for prayer after service. So if there's something on your heart that you would like prayer for or about, or something to recognize and know for yourselves, please avail yourself to their gift of prayer. Prayer works. It works. And actually, you know, I read this once. 7 days without prayer makes 1 week. Okay, so avail yourself to prayer. I want to thank Ed Reeves, our sound engineer, for being with us tonight. Annette, practitioner, and Tim, who are helping us with our live streaming. Thank you so much for your dedicated work. And I want to thank our music team, Jim Bianchi and Sunny Daye, for the beautiful music. Want to make sure that I thank Ginny, our coordinator, and that I thank Rich, because he makes all the duplicates, our CDs, that people can take home with them. I'm looking so forward to seeing y'all here next week. So without further ado, we're going to invite you to join us in the family room for some refreshments and some conversation and just some love. And see you here again next week.
This is our prayer, a song of peace. We get to be the change we want to see, with open hearts and open hands. We lift our voices, in love we stand. This is our prayer, a song of peace. We get to be the change we want to see, with open hearts and open hands. We lift our voices, in love we stand. We lift our voices, in love we stand. We lift our voices, in love we stand.
See you in the family room.
I am not lost, I am exploring. Life is an adventure worth enjoying. Oh, I may not know where I'm going. I am not lost, I am exploring. I am not lost, I am exploring. Life is an adventure worth enjoying. Though I may not know where I'm going, I am not lost, I am exploring. I am not lost, I am exploring. I am not lost, I am exploring.